I remember one of my first Airbnb experiences. I was traveling just here in Florida, and I had to stay one night over on the other side of the state in Delray Beach. I picked out a room and reserved it, and waited for the host to approve it. Back then I didn't have much history, so there weren't many other hosts who could confirm that I was a good guest, but it got approved. And when I got there, I found out the host was an older woman, and I was her very first guest. She had just started using Airbnb, and she was so nice. She actually cooked me a full meal, and I helped her out with some computer issues she was having. We hit it off pretty nicely. But still, I couldn't help but think, that night, I was sleeping in one room, and she was sleeping in the other room, right down the hallway from mine. And it just seemed like it was kind of a dangerous thing for her to do, since she didn't know me. And apparently, her friends had some concerns too. The next morning, while we were eating breakfast, she said one of her friends called her first thing that morning and asked, "So he didn't murder you or anything?" That was years ago, but now it's just a common thing. You rent a room in someone's house, you get a place to sleep, they make some money, and everyone's happy. At least that's how it usually works. My guest today, Evie, was traveling as a young single woman and ended up staying with a family in exchange for doing a little bit of work for them. And after staying there one night, she made a horrifying discovery. Real people in unreal situations.
There is a girl hanging by her broken leg from the telephone wire.
And I called 911 and I said, I found a baby.
I turned around. I see a gun pointed at me close enough I could touch it.
She would hold our heads underwater all the time.
He levels the gun, pulls the trigger, and I go down.
Her eyes were full of tears. She didn't want to leave us.
My hair catches on fire.
I swear to God, this image is burned in my head for the rest of my life.
I'm Scott Johnson, and this is What Was That Like? Where is home for you?
Home for me is Hungary.
Okay, so you live in Hungary, and this all started when you applied for what's called a work and holiday visa for New Zealand. How does that work, and why did you decide to do that?
I was working in an office in Hungary, and that time one of my colleagues, he quit his job and he told us that he's going to go to New Zealand with his wife because he got this special visa. And I got really interested, so I asked him what it is and how he got it. And then he told me about this work and holiday visa. For Hungarians, in each year, 100% can get it. And you have to apply in April. So at midnight in April, they open the application, and the first 100% who fills out the form can actually get the visa. You still have to go to like a medical check, and if that's okay, then you have the chance to go to New Zealand. And this visa is for 1 year. So this visa is for under the age of 35. So if you are older, you can't apply for it. For Hungarians, with this visa, you can travel to New Zealand and work like legally. But for us, it's only 3 months in one place. So after 3 months, we would have to go and work somewhere else. And it's different for every country.
And how old were you when you did that?
I was 28 when I applied and got the visa. And I was quite lucky because like in a few minutes, that 100 places are gone. So I was very lucky to get the visa I tried it for the first time and I got it.
It seems so random that people in Hungary are so competitive to get to New Zealand. What's the attraction of New Zealand? Or is it just because your coworker went there?
No, well, New Zealand is a very beautiful country, but it's very far from us. So Hungarians wouldn't go there for a holiday because like a flight ticket, like one-way flight ticket would cost more than a month of salary. So it's normally like Hungarians don't go there. But if you have the chance to go there and stay there for a year and work and earn money, that's very good. And it's not just for New Zealand. So work holiday visa is also for Taiwan, Japan, Australia. So we have maybe like 10 countries where we can get this visa for.
Okay. All right. You just chose New Zealand. So, yeah, it does seem like I've never been there, but it seems like a really beautiful place.
Yeah, I love nature and New Zealand is beautiful. So,
yeah, you seem, just from what I've read, you seem like a really kind of outdoors type person, right? You like to hike and explore new places.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Also, you registered with a website called HelpX. How does that work?
So after I got the visa, I was talking to other people who went to New Zealand, and they suggested that it's a good idea to volunteer when you are there. So I looked into these websites where you can volunteer, like do a few hours of work for a family, and they give you accommodation and food for that few hours. So I registered. I chose HelpX because I think it's a good site. So I chose them. I registered there, and that's how it started.
So it's just like a place for people who have a room and want to have someone come and do some work, and you can connect with the people that want to travel and kind of move around the country, but also, you pay your own way, right? Just by working.
Yeah. So you can go and stay on a farm. So they need some help on a farm, but they don't want to pay anyone, but they have room to people to stay there. Or it can be a hostel and they just want someone to work there for free. This is for mostly like travelers. So it's a good way for them to travel and stay for free for exchange of few hours of work.
You didn't go straight to New Zealand, right? You did some backpacking first. What did you do before you got there?
Yeah, so because it's quite a long flight and I wanted to explore a bit more, I flew to Bangkok first, and I had 3 weeks until I had to catch another flight from Kuala Lumpur, from Malaysia to New Zealand. So I had 3 weeks to explore a bit. So I backpacked around Thailand and Malaysia.
All right. So then you arrived in New Zealand, and what happened when you got there?
When I got there, I landed in Auckland, and I was looking for a job, and I found a job. I was selling strawberries for 3 months, and after that was finished, I bought a car and started to travel.
What do you have to do to be able to drive there? Do you have like an international driver's license?
No, actually, for the first year, if you are only staying 1 year, you don't need to do anything. Your Hungarian license is fine. If you stay longer, then you have to apply for a New Zealand driving license.
And at that point, is that when you started looking around for a host on the HelpX site?
Yeah. So after I got my car and I started to travel, that time actually I traveled with a German girl and an Aussie guy, and we traveled for 1 week together on the north part of the North Island. I decided that I don't want to go back to Auckland yet, and I asked the German girl if she wants to do HelpX with me. I told her about this volunteer thing, about the HelpX site, and she said she wants to do that with me. So then I called around. The HelpX site is very good because it has a map. So it shows you where the hosts are. So I knew where we were, and I wanted to stay in that area. And I looked up the hosts, and I called them on the phone if they need any help. And one of the families said, yes, they actually want some help. So we drove there, and we stayed with them for 1 week.
And what kind of work were you doing there?
They had two very nice chalets, like little houses, chalets, and we had to clean them because they were renting it out. They were all on an island, and they rented these like little cabins out, and we were cleaning that, and so we had like 4 hours a day.
And then you got a message from another host. Normally, you contact the host and say, hey, can I come and stay for these dates or whatever? But this time, this host named Tom contacted you.
Yeah. So after, that was like half a year after my first HelpX, I believe. So I was traveling both on the North Island and South Island. I stopped to work on the South Island for 3 more months in a tomato glass house. And that time, I got a message from Tom, who was a HelpX host on the North Island in Wellington. And he asked me if I want to go and help his family. And I told him that at the moment, I don't want to do that because I'm working on the South Island and I wasn't planning to volunteer. But we started to chat because he was telling me that a few weeks ago they were in Europe and they had such a good time, and they visited so they had a lot of helpers before, and some of those people kept in touch with them.
So they wanted to go visit the people that had stayed at their place?
Yes, so when they were visiting Europe, they also met some of these people, these girls, and these girls showed them the country. And Tom told me that they were also in Hungary. So we were chatting about that because they had a Hungarian helper before, and she was very good. She showed them around in Hungary. Her family welcomed them.
So he already had a good experience with someone else from Hungary. Is that why he contacted you to see if you wanted a place to stay?
I have no idea why he contacted me because by that time I didn't use the site for 2 months. So I didn't refresh my profile. So even if you do a search, you would see the ones who are actively looking. So I don't know how he found me because I wasn't looking that time.
Okay, so he reached out to you, and who was in his family?
His family was him, his wife, and their 6-year-old daughter. But he also had a first marriage, and in that marriage, he had a 16-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son, but they were not living with him. So that time, when he was looking for help, he was living with his wife and young daughter.
On this website, are you able to look and see reviews from previous helpers? Or how did you check him out?
Yes, on your profile, you write a lot of information about yourself. But if you are a host, you write down what you need help with. And also, you get ratings. So if someone stayed with you before, they can leave a rating after they stayed with you. So for hosts, the guests, the helpers will leave a rating, and for us helpers, the hosts can leave a rating. So everyone who's contacting you, they can see other people's opinion on you. And so for Tom's profile, I saw that his family only had 5-star ratings. I don't remember exactly how many they have, but they were all 5 stars, and I think maybe it was 10. So for that site, that's quite good. So normally you would have 3 or 4.
That kind of made you more comfortable going to their house then?
Yeah, I only had 1 rating, so 10 rating was very good.
How did you end up going there? Did you just go straight there, or how did that happen?
I discovered the whole South Island. So after I finished my 3 months working, I was planning to go back to the North Island because I still had the East Coast there to discover. That was the only part I haven't seen. So Tom lives in Wellington. And to go back to the North Island, you have to take the ferry from the South Island, and Wellington is the place where you gonna arrive when you take the ferry. So I agreed that I will stay with his family for 1 week, and I will help them when I go back to the north.
Tom's family was in Wellington, right?
Yes.
And so the ferry goes there. That's where you were going to get off. So you figured, okay, I'll just go there for a week.
When I arrived, it was a Monday. It was in August 2019. It was dinner time, and the family was having dinner when I arrived. They welcomed me to the table. We were chatting. The wife was quiet, but Tom was very talkative, so we chatted with him. And we also talked about the trip to Europe, and everything was okay. So after that, Tom showed me the whole house, and he showed me where my bedroom's going to be, and he showed me the bathroom I can use. And he was very proud because he told me that I believe he said 9 years ago. I'm not sure, but that's how I remember that he said 9 years ago he redone the bathroom. So I complimented him that it's very nice job. And yeah, after that we went back to the living room. The little girl went to sleep because it was late, and the wife started to read in the living room, and Tom was using his computer, and I also got my Kindle, so I stayed in the living room with them in case they wanted to get to know me a little bit better. After a while, Tom finished on the computer, and he came to chat, and we were talking about Help X, and we were talking about previous experiences on it. And he was telling me that they had very good experiences, except for 2 occasions when, they had 2 bad experiences with 2 ladies who were very dirty. He was telling me these stories, and I had a strange feeling that something is not okay. I don't know. I just had this intuition that I don't know, that maybe I'm manipulated somehow with these stories. I had a previous bad experience couch surfing. So I had a bad experience of that in Jordan when I had the same feeling, and I felt very unsafe there, and I was very scared. So now this time when I'm talking to Tom, I had the same feeling. I didn't understand why, but I was feeling like something is off. We were chatting for a little bit, and then I decided that I'm gonna go to my room and I'm gonna have a shower because it was quite late. So I went to my room. I left them in the living room.
How is the house laid out? Is the living room near your bedroom and bathroom, or?
No, it was quite a big house. So as you go into the house, the living room was on the left side, and there was a hallway leading to the right. And at the end of the hallway, there was my room. And across from my room was the bathroom. And between these 2 rooms was another door, and I didn't know where that leads because Tom didn't show me that one. So it was like on the opposite end of the house. The living room and the place where I was staying.
Okay, so you went to take a shower.
Yes, I went to take a shower. Tom gave me a towel before, when he was showing me around, he gave me a towel. So I took that towel with me. So where I lived before, so this is winter time in New Zealand. This is August, but there it's winter, so it was quite cold. And where I lived, the house was very cold, and even the water. So when I was having a shower, I had to open the tap and wait for a few minutes until the water was warm. So I was used to doing this for 3 months. So this time I did the same. I opened the tap, and like how I normally did, I started to brush my teeth. And when I was brushing my teeth, I heard weird noises. So the bathroom, as I go in the bathroom, to my right, there is a sink. At the sink, there is a mirror. But on my right, on the wall, there was another mirror. So as I'm brushing my teeth, I hear weird noises. It was a little bit like animals moving inside the wall, or something like that. I didn't know what the sound was, but it was strange. So I looked into that little mirror on my right. Like I put my face right up to it, like looking inside. And then I checked if I can take it off, but it was a built-in mirror, so I couldn't take it off. And the noise stopped, so I was like, okay, whatever, maybe it was the pipes or something. Then I undressed and got into the shower. As I was showering, I really felt like someone is watching me. So I felt very uncomfortable. And so that mirror was right behind me, so that the little mirror was...
So in the way this is set up, you're standing at the sink.
Yeah.
If you look to the left, that's the shower.
Correct.
And still facing the sink, if you look to the right, that's that other mirror.
Correct.
So the mirror is facing the shower right across the sink.
Yes, that's correct. I was very uneasy, and I really didn't want to turn around to face that mirror. But then I had to, and the towel was behind me, so I had to turn to get it. So I did, and then I noticed this towel was very small, so I couldn't even cover myself with it. But I got out of the shower, got dressed, and then I left the bathroom and I went into the bedroom. And I closed the door, and as I closed the door, like a few seconds later, I heard footsteps going towards the living room.
So someone was near your bedroom at that time.
Yeah, so I find that strange because the time before I went into the bathroom, no one was in that part of the house.
Is there anything else in that part of the house where someone would need to be there?
Well, there was that one door between the bedroom and the bathroom that I didn't know what's in there. So I had no idea. I find it strange, and I sent a message to two of my friends in Hungary. We had a little group chat on Messenger, and I told them like, oh, I felt very paranoid while I was having a shower, like someone is watching me. And then I heard these footsteps. It's so strange. But I actually didn't believe like someone watched me. I just told them this is strange, but I don't know what's going on. But at that time I decided that I will check that third door the next day just to make sure that no one was actually watching me.
Did you feel like, oh, this is silly, I'm just being paranoid? Or did you think it was really something?
Well, I was thinking I watched too many movies. Like these things happen in movies. So I was thinking, okay, I watched too many of them. So I didn't think. Well, yeah, there were clues. Like there were strange things, but I was just thinking, okay, tomorrow I will check and just make sure nothing is going on. So the next day I woke up. Tom was in the kitchen with his daughter, and they were discussing that she doesn't feel so well, and I believe she wasn't in school on Monday. So the day I arrived, she wasn't in school because she didn't feel so well, and she didn't want to go to school the next day either. So they were discussing this, and then Tom asked me if it would be all right if the girl stays home with me, and I said, of course, it's all right. So yeah, that happened. The girl stayed with me, and the parents went to work.
And what was your plan for the day? Did they assign you any jobs or anything?
Yeah, so when we agreed that the daughter will stay home, I asked if I can do anything else, if they want me to clean something or what else can I do. And then Tom told me that I can clean the upstairs bathroom. So that was all. That he asked me to clean that and just look after his daughter. No, we also had like a little chat in the morning, and like he was looking at me very intensely, like, I don't know, looking into my eyes for a long time, and I was holding his eyes, so I didn't look away. And he was also telling me a weird story about a show. So he was a former teacher. He was a drama and history teacher. And he told me a strange story about a show the students made. And we had a chat about that.
But what was it? You said he was looking at you intensely. How did you interpret that? It sounds very uncomfortable.
Yes, it was a bit uncomfortable. I don't know why that happened, but
what you've said so far, it seems like Tom is a rather odd person.
Yeah, so even like the night before, when he was telling me about the bad experiences they had, sometimes he looked down on the ground and he had this strange smile on his face, like he zoomed out a little bit. I find that a bit creepy. So yeah, he looked down, had this smile for a bit, and then looked back up and continued with his story.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
The parents left, and I stayed with the girl. We went upstairs to look for some games we can play with, but she decided that she doesn't want to play. She would rather watch a movie. And I said, fine. And so I left her in the living room, and then I went upstairs to clean the bathroom we discussed before. So I cleaned the bathroom, and then I remembered that I was planning to check that third mirror at the end of the hallway. So I went downstairs, and I put my hand on the handle, and my heart started to beat very fast, like adrenaline. And I opened the door, and then I noticed I'm in the garage. And on my left side, that's the wall that shares the bathroom. So this is the other side of the mirror, the little mirror on the right. And I noticed there were two boards. There was a pin board and a whiteboard on that wall. And I put my hand on them, and I was able to slide the pin board to the left. And then I put my hand on the whiteboard, and I was able to slide it too. And when I did this, I got to the back of the mirror, and there was a big envelope, and I bent down the envelope, and I could see straight into the bathroom.
When you saw that, what's going through your head?
I got really scared that somehow the parents got notified that I went into that room. Like there was a sensor, or I don't know, that somehow they noticed and they're gonna come home and I will be in trouble.
Yeah, because you knew immediately Tom is a bad person when you found that.
Well, I didn't know who it was, but yeah, like I was thinking it's probably Tom.
The thing that I would be concerned about is, what if, like you said, you were in the garage, what if they had a camera with motion detection, so they know when someone goes in the garage? They could have immediately been notified on their phone that, uh-oh, Evie's in the garage.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So quickly I went into the my bedroom, and I got my phone and my camera. So with those, I recorded a video going from the bathroom all the way to the back of the mirror. And I also took pictures. And I had a friend. I became very good friends with this other backpacker. So I sent him the videos, the pictures. I sent him the address where I am. I sent him Tom's phone number. And I told him what happened. I sent him a message. So in case something happens to me, he knows what's going on and where to go.
That was very, very smart.
But I was scared.
Yeah, you were scared, but you were protecting yourself. And hey, maybe that's a benefit of watching all those movies. Now you knew what to do.
Yeah, and then quickly I sent a message to the HelpX site because I wanted them to know about this. And I started to pack because my first instinct was to get out of there. So I wasn't thinking of anyone who stayed there before or could stay there after me. I was just thinking of myself at this point, and all I wanted to get away from that. But then, of course, I had a little girl there, so I wasn't able to leave. But anyway, I packed all my stuff, and then I was thinking that I'm going to go outside in front of the door and just call Tom to come home because I'm leaving. Then I was thinking, okay, but what if obviously he will have an idea why I want to leave. So what if he hurts me? So I was thinking, okay, that's not a good idea because who knows what he's going to do. I was also sending messages to some of my friends in Hungary, telling them what happened. Then I decided to call the police. Because first I didn't want to call the police. I never had anything to do with them before. And I was thinking that like someone watching me having a shower is not a big deal. So I was thinking maybe this doesn't concern the police.
That's an interesting take to think, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. That like I felt strange telling someone, "Oh, someone watched me having a shower. Can you come and help?" But of course, like thinking of it now, obviously everyone should call the police if something like this happens.
Of course, you were kind of still in a little bit of a panic. It sounds like.
Yeah, I was. Yes, I was.
Okay.
So I called the police so they can tell me what to do because I didn't know what to do. And I spoke with a lady and she talked with someone there and they agreed that they're going to send me a unit because there was a unit nearby. So they sent a policeman and I opened the door and I never had anything to do with the police before. So I didn't even know if I'm allowed to let them in the house because from my movies, from American movies, all you see is that they need like a permit to go into your house. So I didn't know if I'm allowed to let them in. And the policeman said, of course you are allowed. Or I don't know what he said, but obviously I let him in. I showed. So the little girl, the whole time I'm doing all of this, the little girl is in the living room on her iPad behind the closed door. So she has no idea what's going on. So I let the policeman in. I'll show him the bathroom, show him the mirror. And then he notices a camera, but I didn't notice before. So I got even more shocked. Like, what? There is a camera? The camera was right there in front of me, but I was so shocked that I can see into the bathroom that I didn't even look around. Like, it was right there in front of me, but I didn't see it. And then the policeman was telling me, like, don't touch it, because I got a little shock, like, what? There is a camera? Then he told me that he's going to call, I don't know, the forensics, I think they call, like, people to get evidence. And 2 other policemen arrived, and they wanted to take me to the station. And I told them that I can't go because I have the little girl. And then they were saying, like, we are the police. It's okay to leave her with us. So one of the policemen asked me if I want to drive or if I want them to drive my car to the station. And I told him that I would prefer if he drives my car to the station.
When you went to the police station, did you bring all of your stuff with you? Or did you have to go back to the house to get that later?
No, I took everything. I had like one big backpack. My car was full of things like camping stuff and a lot of stuff. But the night before, when I went into the house, I only took my backpack. So I had one big backpack. So I threw everything in there before the police arrived. So I was ready to leave. So I only needed to grab that and then I could leave. We left one policeman in the house to wait for the forensics. And 2 policemen went to the station with me. They took me in the room to give my statement. And they were very nice. Even on the way to the station, we were chatting, and the policemen they were super nice. And even when we arrived, he was keep asking me if I would like a tea or a coffee. And I said, no, I don't drink any of them. And then he asked me again, and I said, no, thank you. And the third time I said, okay, yes. And then I realized later, maybe this is not true, but I think he wanted my fingerprints because they never asked for it after. And I know they took the fingerprints from the mirror. So I think he just wanted my fingerprints. That's why he was really keen on me drinking something. But maybe this is not true. I don't know.
Well, if he would have asked for your fingerprints, you probably would have given them to him anyway, right?
Yeah, so this is my theory. Like, I didn't know why he really wanted me to drink something when I told him twice that, thank you, I don't need anything. So I gave my statement, and a policeman came in and said that if I want to go to the women's refugee, they said they would take me. So he gave me the option to go to the women's refugee place or go to a hostel. So, like, if I go to the women's refugee place, I could stay at a safe place. And by this point, I was like, oh, that's an adventure. I've never been to a safe place. Well, it's not a good thing that you go to a safe place, but I only heard it from a safe place from movies. So I was interested, like, okay, what's that like? Let's check it out. So it was a bit of an adventure that time. So I said yes to that. And then they told me where to go for the women's refugee office.
When you say the women's refugee place, what kind of place is this? Who would live there?
So first, this is like an office, like where I spoke to a lady who arranges the safe place. So I didn't go to the safe place. I was just there to talk with a lady. And I told her what happened. And then she told me I could go to this safe place. And she showed me the direction to the place. So this is a place even the police didn't know the address to. So even before that, I actually got a phone call from Tom. This was the time when I was driving from the police to the women's refugee place. And I didn't pick it up. I got a shock, like, why is he calling me? And then I realized that probably it was the time when he arrived home and he didn't see my car. So he probably got worried, like, where is my car where I am? So I went to the safe place. There were 2 other women with their children. Then I felt a bit guilty for being there because I wasn't feeling unsafe, or like I wasn't abused or anything like that. So I felt a bit guilty for being there when actually other people need to stay there. But it wasn't like I was taking anyone's place because there was plenty of place, but I still felt a little bit bad.
You said you felt guilty for staying there because you were not abused, but really you were abused. Would you agree?
Yes, because I didn't give a consent to anyone to watch me having a shower.
Okay, so you started contacting other people.
Yeah, so I got to the safe place, and then this is the time when I remember, they had so many people, like, they were mostly women. They were girls staying with them. Like, all the ratings on the profile, they were all girls, and there was one couple, I think. So I had no Wi-Fi in this place. So quickly I went to a library, and then I sent a message. First, I sent a message to the Hungarian girl because she was one of the people who left the rating. So I was able to contact her on the HelpX site. And then I sent her a message to find me on Facebook. I told her my name. I told her what happened, and I have videos and pictures to show her. And quickly I put some money on my phone, so I had data from the safe place. So I went back to the safe place, and then I started to message everyone who left a rating on Tom's profile. I sent them all the same message telling them what happened, how to find me on Facebook, to contact me.
Did you start seeing contacts coming in from Facebook?
Yes. The Hungarian girl answered to me straight away. We got in contact on Facebook. I showed her everything. She was shocked. And yeah, slowly, like all the people started to respond to my message. Like even the couple, they were like an older couple. The lady replied to me that when they were staying at this house, they were only house sitting. I believe they were house sitting when Tom and his family went to Europe, because they were house sitting for them for a few weeks. So she said they were not affected by this, but I should let the police know that they also had exchange students from high schools. So they were underage girls staying there before. And she was also super nice. She offered me to help in any way she can. A lot of girls contacted me on Facebook, and it was easier for me to just make a group and put everyone in the group, and we could discuss what happened, and everyone could tell their experiences, and I could give them the contact email address of the policeman. I gave them the case number.
How many people were in this Facebook chat?
In the end, we were 25. So I contacted maybe 10 people. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember how many ratings they had, Tom, on the site. But I contacted all of them, and I put everyone who contacted me in a group. But these girls, like some of them were not alone when they were helping at this house. So they added more people. And some of these girls, when they stayed with Tom, there was also an exchange student. So everyone who knew someone who stayed there before, they just added them to the group. So at the end, we were 25.
What was the response from the HelpX website when they found out about this?
It was very good. I contacted everyone I could on the website on the same day this happened, because by the end of the day, Tom's profile disappeared from the website. So for me, there was no other way to contact anyone or to know who stayed there before. So I was very glad that after arriving to the safe place, my first thought was just to reach out to everyone. And from the HelpX site, I got a message back. They replied, "Did you talk to the wife about this?" And I was like, okay, that's not very helpful. How do I know if the wife is not on this? So I just replied to them, it's all right. I already talked to the police. The police is handling this. Everything is okay. But maybe next time, don't say such a thing.
Yeah, that's an unusual response when you report something like this and they say, well, did you talk to the wife? Well, I don't even know what that means. So what if you did talk to the wife?
Yeah. But at this point, they didn't know there was a camera, but they knew that I was watched while I was having shower.
Right.
While I was in the shower.
How long did you stay at the safe place?
Because I was feeling guilty for being there, I was planning to stay for only one night. But actually, at the end, I stayed for 1 week. The lady told me I could stay until the next Monday, so I could stay for 9 days if I want. I stayed because Tom got a court hearing the next week, and I wanted to stay in town for that. And I also didn't feel so well. Like on the first night, staying in the safe place, I didn't want to have a shower. And the next day, it was in the afternoon, and I was like, okay, I have to have a shower. So I forced myself to have a shower, but of course I checked everything and it was okay. And I was mostly just hiding in my room. I didn't feel like eating or going anywhere. And that was very unusual for me, because whenever I arrived to a place, all I did was I went out, explored, went for a hike, discovered the beach, and I was never inside.
Well, you had been traumatized.
Yeah. One of the ladies was so nice. She noticed that I wasn't eating, and she came after me to my room and she asked me, "Did you eat?" And I said, "No, I didn't eat yet." So she grabbed my hand, took me in the kitchen, and she put a big plate of food in front of me. So while I was staying in a safe place, like more than once, she fed me. She was so nice. Two of the girls who left the rating, they stayed just right before me. So I was arriving in August, but there were two girls, two Irish girls who stayed there at Tom's place in June, and there were two girls who stayed there in July. And these four girls they were still in Wellington. So we discussed that we're gonna meet up. So we went to the city center to meet up and talk about what happened. And that was the first time I went like to a place where there were more people. And I felt very uneasy. I was very jumpy when someone was near me. It wasn't so easy. We met up. But before this, actually, two of the French girls, so they went to the station. So I sent them a message on Monday, and Wednesday, I believe on Wednesday, they went to the station to ask about the case and tell the police that they also stay there. And they got the information that after I left the house, the police took everything from the house, every hard drive, every laptop, every electronic they could find, and they took the fingerprints from around the mirror. They took Tom in for questioning. They also talked to the wife, but they were okay with the wife. They couldn't find any evidence that she was involved in any way. So they let them go. Tom was arrested and he was bailed.
So he was arrested and charged with whatever crimes, but he was out.
Yes, so the crime was making an intimate visual recording. He was charged with this and arrested, and he was bailed, and he had to appear on court in the next few days. And that's why I stayed in Wellington, because I knew that he has to go to the court. So the time the French girls went into the station, the police also took a picture of them so they could identify them from the videos, because they found a lot of videos, and they told them that it's a woman who's going to check all these videos. They will let them know if they find anything on them. And the next day, one of the French girls got the news that, yes, they have a video of her. So the police didn't really tell me what they found. I got some information from the media, because there were like articles online. That's how I knew that they found almost 400 videos and lots of pictures. And there was nearly 100 women on these videos.
100 women?
Yes. And there were also girls who were as young as 12. And it was like 31 hours of videos what they found in that house.
And these were all people who were staying there from the Help X website?
These were women who stayed there from the Help X site. They were exchange students from a lot of countries. There were family members. I don't know, lots of people. He was charged with 53 courts of making intimate recording. They wanted to charge him with 90, but because of statutory limitations, they could only charge him with the last 5 years he was doing this. So that was 53 charges.
53 counts, and it was making intimate recordings and making objectionable material. And
yes,
that's incredible. They can only go back 5 years. He had been doing it longer than that, but after 5 years, they can't charge him because of the law. He must have thought, after all that time, all those years, he thought, I'm never going to get caught.
I don't know what he was thinking, because one of the French girls said when he was showing them the bathroom that she noticed that mirror, and she said, "Oh, that's a strange place for a mirror." And he was like, "Oh yeah, ha ha ha. Once I had a shower here and I noticed it too, like, oh, that's strange. What must my guests think of why I have that mirror there? But it's just there so you can see your profile better." So, like, if I would be him, I would be so scared that the girls realize that's a two-way mirror.
Right. But he was just way overconfident.
And he didn't even lock the garage. So, like...
Yeah, that's the other thing. You just walked right in.
Yeah, and some people told me in the group that they were working there. They were working in the garage.
But Evie, the investigator, went looking and found it. If you hadn't found it, it could still be happening now.
Yes, probably. I don't know. So I stayed in Wellington, and with two of the French girls, we went to the court hearing. We had no idea how these things go, and we were thinking that he will be questioned and he has to give answers, and we wanted to hear these answers. But actually, the whole thing was like 1 minute. He didn't plea, so they just gave him a new date. So it was like nothing. So the next morning, I just left Wellington. I went on my way and continued with the things I was planning to do. And I don't remember when was his next court hearing, but he didn't plea either. And this was going on for weeks and months. And the strange thing is that after 3 weeks of the mirror being discovered, he sent an email out to a lot of these girls who stayed there before. He sent an email, like a catching up email. And he was writing like about the weather and people being sick because it was a cold winter, and he had some teaching issues, and he's hoping that it will be solved. And that he was talking about like laughing, how important it is to laugh and how good it is for you. And like, it was strange. Like, these girls by now knew that what he'd done, and we didn't understand why he would send this message. It was very strange. In December, he asked the judge, he was asking for sentencing indication, like asking how long he would be imprisoned if he pleads guilty. By February, they told him that they're gonna give him 2 years and 9 months imprisonment if he enters a plea. And then he did, finally. He said, yes, he's guilty.
So that was his sentence, 2 years and 9 months.
It was 2 years and 10 months, what they told him. So this is February, and the sentencing was in June. So he had the chance to talk to the victims. If he agrees to talk to the victims, he could get less time. So by the time June came, he was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison. So they took away some time because of previous good behavior or something. They wanted to give him 4 years. But because of his good character, they gave him a discount, and 25 off for early plea. So the sentencing was at the end 2 years and 9 months in prison.
Is he still in prison?
No. So it was 2018 August when I find the mirror, and he was sentenced in June 2019. And after 1 year of being in prison, he had his first parole hearing, and it was denied. And then he had another one the next year in May, and I believe they granted that parole. So after 2 years, he was out of prison. He was released in June 2021.
How did this affect you psychologically? Did you get therapy to help process this?
No, I didn't. I was all right. Like at the beginning, like I said, I didn't feel like eating or going out and felt jumpy. But as the time went and I forced myself to go out and do the things I liked, I was all right. I was always checking the bathrooms whenever I went. I was a bit paranoid. I was covering mirrors and windows when I was having a shower. But yeah, I left that behind. I'm fine now. And the New Zealand police was amazing. Whenever there was a hearing or something, they gave me a call and they checked up on me. Like victim advice called me to check up on me if I'm all right. And they sent me websites where I could get help. Yes, they were amazing.
Have you used the HelpX website since then to find other places to stay?
Yes, I used it one more time in New Zealand before I left. And then after my visa expired, I went to Australia and I used the HelpX site there too. It's an amazing site. I love it. I used it even later in Europe. I had amazing hosts. I have very good memories from my stays. So yeah, it's a great site. I would recommend it to travelers.
When the police were doing their investigation and looking at those videos, did they find any videos that were of you?
Yeah, so at the end of August, they sent me an email that they found a video of me. But yeah, I think that was obvious. Well, maybe not. Yeah, but they let me know that there's a video of me. After the sentencing, they all they got rid of all the videos. So I registered for victim notification. So every time something happened, every time he had a court hearing or a plea, anything, I got an email.
I was reading in one of the online articles that Tom made a statement in court, and he said he was horrified by himself and was glad that he was caught. Do you believe him? And does it make any difference that he said that?
Well, for me, it was easy, this whole thing. I got the least damaged by it because I didn't know this family. I had no feelings towards them. Some of the people been in contact with them for years and they had a good relationship. Some were family members. So, this was such a big shock for them. For me, they were strangers. So I didn't care about him. I don't know if I believed him or not. Probably I didn't believe him. I think he would just say whatever he wants people to hear.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if people are sincere after they've been caught. I'm glad that you were a good detective and solved this crime. And thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for letting me share my story.
I'm wondering, does hearing this story from Evie make you think twice about staying in the home of someone you don't know? Let me know what you think. If you didn't catch it, Tom's career was working as a teacher, but that's now over. And he's been put on the Child Protective Offender Register, so hopefully he can no longer abuse people like this. And one more thing, you heard Evie mention that as soon as she discovered the two-way mirror in the garage, she got her phone and created a video. I've seen that video, and it is creepy. She starts recording in the bathroom, so you can see the real mirror and the fake mirror, and then she walks out the door and around the corner to that entry to the garage. She slides the envelope out of the way, and you can see the view right into the bathroom. You want to see that video? It's available to watch in the Facebook group. We'll also be discussing this episode, and I'm sure there will be lots of comments about this one. You can join me over there, along with over 7,000 other What Was That Like listeners at whatwasthatlike.com/Facebook. If you've had an experience like this where your privacy and trust were violated by a stranger, come on over and tell your story. Graphics for this episode were created by Bob Bretz. Full episode transcription was created by James Lai. And now, the listener story. You know how it works. Every episode here at the end, we play a story that was sent in by a listener. And we're still waiting to hear yours. Just record it, something like 5 to 10 minutes on your phone, and email it to me. This week's story is kind of in line with this episode. An unfortunate event while traveling. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
I just listened to your most recent episode about Chris, and it made me think about the time that I did a study abroad program in Greece. I am a musician. I'm actually an elementary music teacher, and I teach piano lessons as well. But in college, I studied voice as an opera singer. And so my professor was doing this program in Greece, and he invited me to come. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to travel. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And of course, I was 20 years old, and now looking back on it, I kind of can't believe my parents let me travel all the way there by myself. But, you know, I was an adult, so I went all the way to Greece by myself, met up with the people there. We took a boat to Athens, from Athens to the a little island called Syros, which is beautiful. I was supposed to be there for 5 weeks. I did end up doing the whole program and learned a lot. Got to sing in a beautiful performance venue. Ate a lot of gyros and yogurt and stuff like that on the island. But my first night there, I was sitting on the beach, and of course I met a boy, and we were sitting on the beach, and the beaches there on this island are like rocky. So it's like a rock beach. We were sitting on the beach, on the rocks, basically outside of our hotel. And since, you know, we were sitting out there, it was a romantic time, I ended up like sitting on his lap, and for some bizarre reason, he decided to stand up, and I fell backwards. We were on a ledge. I fell backwards about, I don't know, 6 or 7 feet, maybe even higher than that, and hit my head on a rock. And I lost consciousness. And I woke up and spent my first night on the island in the hospital. And my grandma had given me money to spend on the trip, and I had to use it on my hospital stay. So that's my crazy story.